Well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another fine installment of the No Life Digital Podcast. Today, we got a lot of fun news for you. Well, really not so much fun news. I don't even want to talk about it. Let's just hop into the show and surprise you with what's going on. Some tech news. We got some tech news that I can let you know about. New Apple stuff that we haven't touched on yet. Some camera stuff that we haven't touched on yet. Not too much in gaming. Really not. Kind of like a gaming drought recently. But anyways, let's jump into it. Hello, my dudes. How you guys doing?
Say there's not a drought right now. April 30th was two big releases.
What, Returnal and what was the other one?
The new Pokemon Snap, which I've also picked up, and both of them are really fun.
Is it still like the same Pokemon Snap as the original one?
Some of the ideas are the general gameplay loop is the same, yeah, but it looks phenomenal. Like Bandai Namco is the one behind it. After the success of Pokken, and you know what? I want more Bandai Namco Pokemon games. These are the best looking Pokemon I've seen in a game. Like the attention to detail is really good. And they've took the original concept from like the N64 and really updated it. So now like each stage has like multiple different that they call research levels that you unlock, and that changes what Pokemon are there. That changes the interactions that the Pokemon have with each other. And they have like a whole photo mode because it's a photo game.
I was gonna say, what do you mean a photo mode?
But it looks great. Like I've been having a lot of fun. It's my short burst game. It's not a game I'm gonna sit there and play for 5 hours straight.
I don't remember how you play it. It's on rails. I remember that.
It's on rails. You get a camera, and as you unlock new things, where like you unlock the apple, where you can try to throw the apple to get their attention, and they eat the apple, or you can throw it at them to piss them off. They give different poses based on that. Then you get. I haven't unlocked all the stuff. The last one I unlocked is like a glow ball that like if you throw it at them makes them kind of glow in an aura, and they do certain things like they'll maybe do a different pose or they'll interact with another Pokemon around them when you do it to them. So there's a lot of experimentation, which there wasn't like the N64 one. But it's a great game for 30-minute hour-long bursts. I'm lying in bed, I just want to play a couple rounds, take a couple photos.
So there's like a replayability to it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's definitely replayability at the moment for it. And then there's, of course, the scores. You know, you want to get the highest scores. I know people.
How do you get what's based on your score?
So, position in the photo, the pose they make, if there's other Pokemon also in the shot, the zoom in, if you're using the zoom in or not. So, like, size matters. And then if you get, I think it's like 2,000 and less is a bronze star. Between 2,000 and 3,000 is a silver star. Between 3,000
is there like an online leaderboard?
There is. I don't know if there's a leaderboard, but there is online aspect to it where you can kind of look at other people's photos and say, you know, hey, that one's really sweet. And you can do like I said, with the photo mode, you can like add stuff to it. You can add captions. So it's definitely like a social. There's definitely a social aspect to it.
Interesting.
But the I think 4,000 points or more is the diamond star, and that's what people are kind of aiming to fill their entire photo album with diamond stars. And each album has, for each Pokemon, there's a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, and 4-star shot. You can only pick one shot from each Pokemon that you take, so you have to kind of hunt for which stars you want. If you want to go for a better 4-star shot, there's a lot of replayability in that fact.
Right. Yeah, I don't remember the original too much. I just remember
the original was just like you took pictures.
It was the most
and
boring
Professor
fucking
Oak was
game
like,
I've ever played in my life. That's what I remember.
You were close.
Yeah, I remember throwing apples. I remember doing that.
Yeah, and they give you kind of the same.
And then being
thing.
like, wait, the Pokemon don't fight each other, and then realizing it was stupid. But, anyways, I really want to know about Returnal, which you've been playing.
Returnal is how do I explain it? It's hard. It is a tough game. Runs take.
That's what I like to hear, baby.
My last run was about.
I hear the runs are 35 hours. Around 35 hours a run.
Well, not per run. So
for a full run.
when you unlock a new what they call biome, I think is what they're calling the areas. So biome 1, 2, 3, and so on. I'm in biome 3, but you always start in biome 1, and then as you unlock the biomes, you kind of find gates to get to the next biome. So if I wanted to go back to biome 2, I could, but I would rather just rush to 3, of course. The only problem is when you do that, you're going to be starting in there with a weaker weapon than if you were to go through biome 2 to 3 and less resources, but you have the shortcut to get there faster. It's procedurally generated in the sense that the rooms are not different, but they're encountered in a different order. So you're always going to come across the same rooms, but you're not going to come across them in the same order every time. So when you start a run, you're at the crashed ship. If you go straight, you might hit the lore room that has like these really cool like holograms, and that's like a side room. Or you might encounter a room that it has no enemies, but there's like a really interesting location. I won't spoil anything. Or in your next run, that room might be super deep in the forest in that first biome. It's like
So every time you die, the order gets rearranged.
the order gets rearranged in every biome. So no run is going to be exactly the same. Even if your first forest somehow seems to be identical to a run you had 3 runs ago, the biome 2 is not going to be the same.
Right. So that's what I'm kind of confused about, because it's a roguelike.
Yes.
So the idea
it's
you're
like
gonna die.
Light.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna
Yeah.
die, and you're going to. The idea is to try to progress in one run, to try to get to the end in one run, using the best combination of weapons and finds and things like that, right?
Yeah, and you will unlock new weapons as you get new upgrades. So I got the grapple hook recently. That led me to
Permanent
a
upgrades,
part.
or just for the run?
There are permanent upgrades. So there's a permanent upgrade that gives you a melee attack. There's a permanent upgrade that gives you the alt fire on your weapons. The only things that aren't the things that aren't permanent upgrades are you don't get to keep any keys that you collect that you use to unlock stuff, like to unlock doors or unlock chests. You don't get to keep those when you die. You get to keep your ether. Ether is a source that you can use to cleanse. So you know how like heat works in Hades?
Yeah.
You know how like chaos works actually. More than I think about it, it's more like chaos, where you can take that boon, but you're gonna have that negative penalty with it.
Yeah, there's always like a positive but a negative.
In this game you have what's called malignancy, and you can pick up malignant items or you can unlock malignant chests, but you run a risk of incurring a malfunction or one of your, I mean, like you pick one up in your keys, you had 3 keys, they're gonna break. You don't know, it's gonna be random, and it tells you the chance. Like, it'll be like moderate, very high risk. It's a risky play to open them, or you can use the ether to cleanse them. You can also use ether to interact with certain objects in the world. There, at some point in the first biome, you unlock a tower-like structure that if you give it 3 ether, it'll pump out a new item or artifact that you've never seen before, which then adds it to the pool that you can get later.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of encourages. I'm just holding on to all my ether instead of using them to cleanse, because I want to unlock all of the accessible pool materials, like the items, and add them to the pool.
So what I heard is
weapon.
Hold on a second. What I heard is this is the one thing that I was confused on. So like from the beginning to the end is 35 hours, and you can't turn the game off. You can't save a state. You can't pause it in between then.
So I don't think that's true, mainly because I was watching.
The only thing you can do is rest the machine.
Watching Co-Carnage play it a little bit, not like further ahead than I am, but I watched his thoughts video. He said it took him about 23 hours to beat the game because there are shortcuts. Once you unlock a biome, you get a shortcut to that biome, so you don't have to do the second biome. What I will say is, if you're in the middle of a run,
that's still pretty long.
The run's not going to take you 35 hours. A run's going to take you. I mean, my long runs will take you longer, of course. But yes, and that's the one thing I hope they address in a patch. They even tell you when you start the game, this game has
there's no saving.
If you want to pause during a run, you have to put your PS5 in the rest mode, which is, I mean, it's fine.
So they give you a warning.
Rest mode, But if you wanted to switch games, let's say you were like on a good run on a turn on, but like, you know what, I want to play something else on my
You
PS5 right now.
can't. You'll
You
lose your
can't.
run.
You cannot because you have to close that game.
That's just how they made
You
it.
want to know what that
If you
is?
upgrade your PS5
Do you
firmware,
want
that's
to
going to
do you want
trigger
to
system
know
loss.
exactly what that is? Stupid.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
interesting
even
why they did
Hades
that.
offers a save and quit function. I don't know why. I don't.
It should be the
I don't
only way
know
you
why
lose
there
your
should
run
not be
is
a
if
save
you
and quit.
die. That should, I mean, that's what all roguelikes used to be. It's not if you wanted to
Yeah.
pause it,
The fun
you know?
the fun of roguelikes where like it's an infinite repeatable challenge that isn't 35 hours. It's like 20 minutes. Like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like 20, even 20
like
hours is a really long run that you
Yeah,
can't turn off and you can't play anything else.
I
That's
don't
crazy.
believe that a run is 20 hours. To beat the game from start to finish in one run is not 20 hours. I can tell you that now.
Okay.
I can tell you it's not 20 hours. There's no way it's 20 hours. Because you unlock the shortcuts.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go for a full run from beginning to end, clearing every single
I guess it
room,
just depends on how bad you are at the game,
and yeah, this is a game that definitely is a get good game. I am currently
which I don't mind. Like
and I'm in that part of roguelikes where I'm in the third biome and there's a certain enemy type that is just kicking my ass. And every time I get there, it's just like I'm trying to learn the fight and then I die. But if I want to get better at the fight, I have to get back there. And that's going to take me at least 20 to 30 minutes.
I love
see
roguelikes.
that just I that's where I like roguelikes, but this just sounds actually stupid of like, oh yeah, you died 3 hours in, have fun learning that fight, spend another 3 hours to get back to seeing one extra mechanic. Like that's not fun.
No, I don't
I'm
mind
used
that
to
too
it.
much. I don't mind
I'm
that too
used
much.
to it. I played enough Hades that I'm used to
I just
this.
want to know, like, if it actually takes like 20 hours to get to the end, because that's a little insane. If that there's no save
I will
state.
say, that
I
the
guess
game
for me that's just a time difference where it's like that's no, to me that's absolutely stupid of like, okay, I actually like this is coming from the WoW player. Like if a game is designed where you have to be an addict to be able to play it like that, that's
Well,
stupid.
that's what the thing is about. A lot of these roguelikes are getting that way. Like Slay the Spire is kind of like that, where it's like it takes a really long time to get to the end, and if you fuck up, I mean, you're losing hours. You're losing hours of fucking time.
I will say, if the game wasn't at its core fun, it would be bad.
Yeah, so
But
the
the game
combat's
is
fun, right?
very fun to play. It is pretty addicting, and the combat's very. And when I saw the first, like, because the initial trailer did not sell me on this game at all, right? The trailer was like, okay, that looks interesting, kind of cool concept. It's when I saw the game in action with gameplay, and I'm like, this looks like an arcade style game.
Yeah, it
And
looks
it
like
is.
Doom
At the
meets
core of
like
its gameplay,
Resogun.
Yeah, at the core of its gameplay, it's very arcadey. It's very video gamey, and I love that.
I'm definitely interested.
I
I
mean,
just bought it.
I've been watching it. It looks like bad Warframe, which isn't bad. So yeah, I can see this game being fun, but I'm just saying from a game design standpoint, that sounds absolutely cancer. That
Yeah.
does not sound fun. That's
Welcome to
that's
roguelikes.
not good game design.
Roguelikes are getting
Yeah,
this
that's
way, where they're
roguelikes.
just insanely. They're getting more and more
is
difficult
the
and longer and
first-
longer.
No, and I'm fine. I'm fine with the roguelites, but not ones that are like, okay, dude, you literally have to keep your PlayStation. You have to spend
I know,
$70
that's
on this
stupid.
game, and then you have to spend 20 hours, and you have to leave your PlayStation on, and you cannot quit. You have to either play this game or cannot ever play any other
Yeah.
game. You have to play our game. That is cancer
Yeah,
game
that
design.
is stupid. I don't.
I will
understand why they
not
did that.
fault anyone who says or doesn't buy it because it's 70. I will not fault them for it. It is definitely
it's a
not a
$70
genre
game.
for everyone.
It is running at a clean 60.
Dude,
from
it's
what I
not
hear.
even that. It's the like. No,
I've had loaded. I've had
your
pop in
PlayStation
once.
is our game now. You cannot play anything else while you play our game. You have to literally, it's a returnal machine now. That is cancer.
Well, I mean, that's if you have a run going. I'm not sure if I haven't turned it off yet, but I'm not sure if I turn it off if
Exactly,
I have to start
Doobie. You haven't
from the
turned it
very
off yet.
beginning. I don't know if I have to start from the very beginning. I lose all my permanents. I don't know if it saves there.
No, I would imagine
don't
it's
wanna
just
try it,
if you
that's
turned it off,
the thing.
it's just starting another run. You
'Cause
you can't.
You can restart the run from the menu setting, like the settings menu.
But still, like from what I'm hearing, from what I've heard, and maybe these people are just bad at the game. That to complete a run, like for one of them to complete a full run, it was around like 20, and someone said 35 hours it took them to get to from playing the game and then completing a full run. And that was the main thing that they criticized, was like, if you wanted to do anything else, you can't. You're gonna have to start over. Which they warn you about it, so I mean that's fine.
Right now it's okay, because let's be honest, there's no fucking PS5 games to even play in the first place.
True.
So that doesn't matter.
That's very fair.
True.
But a year
And
from
all
now,
20 people that own a PS5.
Yeah, like fucking a year from now, I'm sorry, that is terrible game design in my opinion.
I gotta imagine
no, dude,
there's gonna be enough
you play
criticism that
this
they're gonna
game or
patch
nothing.
it. I can imagine how hard of a patch can that be to add a save quit function.
But what I want to know is, does it fuck the game up if they?
That's
do
what I
that?
am wondering. Does that screw with the procedurally generated stuff with the loading,
Or not even that? Like if it's meant to just fucking lock you in, then whatever. Then that's just the game. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I want to play because it looks fucking awesome, and I love roguelikes.
I will say it's very. God, I hate gonna be doing this.
I just wish I could use a mouse and keyboard.
It's Dark Soulsy lore in that the lore is like the world building is very hidden. You have to look for the certain items.
Oh yeah, that's the
descriptions.
modern game design 101. Don't make the lore, don't make interesting lore. Just hide it so everyone thinks it's interesting.
I mean, it is interesting.
That's what people do.
It's weird. I mean, it feels like it's got some of the inspiration behind like Prometheus and Aliens.
Yeah, that's what looks cool about
with
it.
the time loop aspect of it, like almost like Edge of Tomorrow.
The game looks pretty fucking sick. I'm not gonna lie. It looks sick.
There are first person. There is a portion of the game in which takes place in first person where it's like. I actually had to Google, are there jump scares in this game?
Oh god.
Because I hate jump scares. I'm not a jump scare guy.
I love jump scares.
That's why RE7 was horrifying to me, but RE8 looks great because RE8 at least gives you a gun.
Have you played that one? What was it? The demo that they released that they had to pull up. I forget the name of it. But the one that's not. Yeah. Did you ever play that?
I remember watching like the section that I'm talking about, and in streams, and people were just screaming "PT ripoff."
PT.
I was like, oh boy.
That was a scary ass fucking game. For a demo, for a fucking hour-long demo.
Yeah, and because of Konami, it's never gonna happen.
I know, what a shame. I still have my PlayStation with my PT on there.
Yeah, it's all on eBay for $1,500.
I'm just gonna hold on to it and see what it's worth. When gaming is now all VR.
How much is a PS3 with what was it, PT demo?
Yeah, find out what it is. I still have it. I still got it on there. I never deleted it. It's on there, baby. Waiting for me to just get back into that world. What if it gets corrupted in a virus and it fucking eats my brain next time I play it? The corrupted PS5. Did you find it?
No, but there are people selling PS5 still for $900 on eBay.
Let's see. $1,000 this one's selling. It took me 2 seconds to find it, Doobie. This one's $450. That's it. There's two consoles right now with PT on them that you can get. Wow.
PS4 with PT demo, $500.
Yeah. Okay. If I ever need $500, there you go. Yeah. So Returnal looks pretty sick. I'm downloading it now. So I'll let you guys know next week my thoughts on it, as I'm a huge roguelike fan, and this one looks pretty cool. I love the particle effects on it. It's like Resogun, but third person, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool. It looks all right. I'm just been watching your stream here while you guys are talking about it, and like gameplay does look good. I would never fucking spend money on this game.
$70. 70 bones.
Yeah, being
so the performance is good, Doobie. It runs at like a lock 60.
Yeah, performance is great. I only had one issue once where I'm entering, I think it was the third biome. I'm taking the shortcut in, and the assets did not load as fast as they usually do, so there was a little bit of pop-in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Where like things were loading as I was running through. But that was the first time it's happened. It happened a couple runs ago, and I haven't seen it since.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, like, there are no loading screens except for when you die.
Let me ask you one more thing, because one thing that I think is important with these kind of games, how's the gun customization and like the weapon loadouts?
So it's it's not really customization in the guns, whereas you kind of just, it's almost like a looter shooter where you find different guns that have different alt fires, where there's like a horizontal shot, a vertical shot.
So let me ask you, like, if I'm doing a run and I find a fucking rifle, can I find an upgrade that gives me like, +5 ammo, or you know what I mean? Like, are there upgrades like that?
Ammo, well, there's a couple things. Ammo is infinite. It's just one of those like ones where if you run out of ammo,
Right, but you know what
it
I'm
gives
talking
you
about,
that
right?
slider.
Where it's like the way
Yeah,
that you upgrade is.
So there's nothing in terms of that. What you can do is there's a thing called proficiency. So as you gain proficiency, whether you pick up items that give it to you, when you enter the shortcuts, so if you go from biome 1 to biome 3, there's a item there that you pick up. It gives you an immediate 9 proficiency. Proficiency level is what determines what the level of weapons you're going to find are. And each weapon you find is randomized. So that rifle you find might have that you have from the first biome, and you get to the third biome, and it's you're going from like a level 0 to a level 9 gun. It could be the same rifle, but it's going to have a totally different alt fire. It's going to have different damage output. It's going to have different fire rate. And then there are mods that you unlock on them that you can find. So there's like 1, 2, and 3 level mods. Where the rifle has, I think, like hardened. So that rifle, if you pick it up that has hardened, and as you use the guns more, you'll unlock them.
So what I'm asking is, there's a whole bunch of different combinations of like weapons, basically.
Yeah, and it's kind of just
that you
RNG
just find
random and what you get.
Yeah, that's what I want, baby.
And there's a lot of variety so far. So
that's what I want. That's what I want to hear.
You get a carbine style rifle that if you unlock a certain feature makes it into like a single fire, but like really powerful single fire. There's a rocket launcher. There's a caustic, like a toxic grenade launcher, which lobs it lobs a acidic ball that essentially, if it hits the enemy, it starts to tick away at their health over time.
It's kind of got like a Control look too. It's kind of
that's what
I've
heard some people compare it to a little bit. It's a Control.
Control meets like Prometheus
in terms of its look. Yeah, but the weapons are great.
I saw Controls on the Switch.
Yep.
Wait, I have to look up some gameplay of Control on the Switch.
I believe that is.
There's no way that game runs on the Switch.
I think it's the streaming version.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it is running great on the Switch.
Yeah. Returnal's definitely a game I'm going to be sinking my teeth into over time.
Cool, man. Let's get back to it on next week when I'm going to get some hours into it. I'll probably play it right after the show. All right. Moving on.
Man, hey, have fun, guys.
Have you been playing anything new, Jerry?
Nah, but I'm going to be straight up honest. I'm taking that $70 off of that game and buying a fucking new lawnmower.
Why?
I find that more exciting than this game.
All right, well, what about this? Every single Activision studio...
Okay, sorry. It's not that the game looks bad. It looks like a fun game, but I'm never going to pay money for a 35-hour, your PlayStation is now this. I'm never going to do that.
I know. I kind of want to see what they mean by that. I'm curious. 'Cause I refuse to believe that... I don't know. I want to see kind of how that works. Because maybe it's just... These people are just not good at it. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Or maybe it takes 35 hours to actually complete the whole game with runs included.
Even if the run was like 8 hours, that's a little bit more doable, but it's just like the idea of like, okay, no, you can never quit this game and go play another game. That is not why I play video games.
Yeah.
Like, straight up.
Well, what about Activision putting every single one of their studios onto Call of Duty now? So Toys for Bob is working on Call of Duty Warzone Season 3. Raven Software is now supporting Call of Duty. Activision Shanghai is working on Call of Duty Online. Demonware does server support for Call of Duty. Former Transformer devs High Moon Studios help support Call of Duty. Beanox has been working on Call of Duty since Black Ops 3. And collectively, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, and Sledgehammer have been taking turns developing Call of Duty for games. So the Activision is now a fucking Call of Duty machine. Well, I mean now, but like I guess it's always been.
All they've ever been.
I guess it's always been, but
this isn't news.
They're putting all their fucking forces into Call of Duty. And it seems like it's paying off for them financially because it seems to be working pretty well. So there you go.
It is and it isn't, but yeah, like it's. I mean, dude, it's Warzone. You got to make Warzone 300 gigs now instead of 100.
So,
yeah, right.
I mean, discussing this with a lot of other people that have like a soft spot for the companies that have now been kind of dissolved. Vicarious Visions did a really good job with the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster. They got immediately taken off, thrown into COD. Toys for Bob
As
did
they
a great
should.
job. Toys for Bob did a great job with the Crash 1 through 3 remaster, as well as the Spyro 1 through 3 remaster. Then they made Crash 4, which was, as far as I'm aware, was pretty well received and sold really well.
Yeah, and they said,
They're
okay,
now
awesome.
dissolved,
Now
working
go
on
into
COD.
Call of Duty.
And which is just, has EA been taken? Has EA dropped that worst company spot to Activision Blizzard?
I mean, EA.
It's hard for me to say no.
What was the last
Activision
bad?
Blizzard has overtaken them as the worst company
Yeah.
in gaming.
Like, what was the last that bad PR we heard from EA? You know what I mean? It's
No,
only really
EA
been
has been doing
no.
okay with that.
You got to remember why EA was the worst though, because I was initially saying yes, agreeing with you, but the original reason why EA is the worst company is the amount of microtransactions.
Microtransactions.
Activision has not gone full on. Here's Battlefield 2, guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That was bad. Hey, that whole situation, and I think that was like kind of the turning point for EA was
Or
when
Battlefront
Disney had
2,
to step
Battlefront
in. When Disney had to step in and be like, "Yo, EA, you fucking up."
Chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
When
But then
Disney was
EA
on their
said,
back,
"Hold on,
that
let's."
was when EA had to like.
They were
take
like,
a step
okay,
back,
but now
'cause
let's put it all on Games Pass, and then you can get every fucking EA game on Games Pass.
Another
included.
reason I think EA is
That's
like,
pretty cool.
what I see what they're doing with Respawn Entertainment. They're letting Respawn, like old EA would have stepped in and done so many bad decisions with Respawn, but right now they're like, hey, you're making Apex, you made Star Wars Fallen Order, you're doing good stuff. We're just gonna let you be. Just do you. We'll reap the money, but you just do you. Old EA would have stepped in, they would have made too many executive decisions, and then they would eventually have liquefied the company.
Well, yeah, sure, agreed.
I do agree with your premise that yes, Activision is not in a good spot. They're doing a lot of weird shit, especially if they're going all Call of Duty. That makes sense. Unfortunately, the downside is you just listed off a bunch of studios who did remakes, like, so that's kind of.
I mean, remakes, yeah, but then you had Toys for Bob that did remakes and then did a new game.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
And now you're not going to get any new
disagreeing with
games
you.
out of that because now they're working on Warzone.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna get a Warzone 2 or
Which rocks.
Call of Duty, which is in itself a
Yearly?
fucking remake.
I'm
Because
okay
it's a
with
yearly remake every year.
Yeah, it's just a yearly remake.
I'm okay. I love Call of Duty. Put more studios on there. Fuck it, man.
I
Keep
enjoy
pumping Call of
Warzone
Duties
as a
out.
game, but I would much rather have
5
the team
studios
that made
making
Crash
5 new
4
games.
still make Crash 5, make Spyro 4. That's never going to happen now.
I mean, it's interesting that they seem to think like, let's just throw money at Call of Duty and just see kind of how it goes. And I mean, financially speaking, it hasn't been bad for them. Like Warzone was a humongous success, and we're gonna see kind of what the new Call of Duties do. I'm sure they're gonna be great. So we'll see kind of like if this means like that this was a right decision or not. Because I agree,
I mean,
like it
they're
would
not-
be
well,
nice to
that's the
have
thing
more
is-
studios making more new games, but we'll see.
That's the thing is Toys for Bob apparently not only did the company is now like working on Warzone, apparently a lot of the people that worked on Crash 4 have left the company. They've been let go. They've been let go. Like they didn't even leave of their own will. They were laid off.
Yeah, interesting.
Which I'm like, you know what? I want to see those developers either go make their own studio.
Oh, what?
Or
There's
go to
an
another
update.
studio.
Hold on, Doobie. There's an update. Reports of layoffs at Toys for Bob are incorrect. There has not been a reduction in personnel recently at the studio. The development team is operating fully and has a number of full-time job openings at this time. The studio is excited to continue supporting Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, and more recently provide additional development support for Call of Duty Warzone. So they're still working on Call of Duty Warzone, but they haven't. They didn't.
I was gonna say if they had left the company with their background with the Crash, Spyro, and Crash 4, they would have been able to pitch themselves to any company that wants to like rebirth an old IP, because they could be like, listen, you've seen our work, we can resurrect dead IP and do it well if we really like it enough.
Now, interestingly enough, Thursday, Activision's Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick is voluntarily halving his salary as well as his target annual bonus. So he is cutting his salary to $875,000, down from $1.7 million. And his annual
Yeah,
bonus
he-
cut is
okay,
He
so-
already made enough money.
Oh, true, for sure.
I'm twofold on this. One, that's good. Two, why does this feel like a PR move?
Oh, it is a PR move, 100%. He's
It
already
just
made his
feels
money.
like it's a PR move to go, oh yeah, we're doing all these bad things, but I'm taking a cut in pay. We're not bad.
I mean, can he win? You know what I mean? What would he have to
Oh,
do? Like,
absolutely
give
not.
up his
Oh,
entire
no, he
salary
can't
before
win.
people are like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like, you know, having your salary is it's pretty substantial. Of course, he's still fucking massively rich. He's still making a shitload of money. But he is a CEO, and, you know, it's not uncommon for
I mean,
him
it's
to make
better
a lot
than
of
what
money.
Pitchford was doing with Gearbox, that's for sure.
I don't remember that situation.
When they promised bonuses to
That
their
was
employees
Borderlands,
for
right?
Borderlands 3 if it sold well enough, and it did. And then he went, "Oh, yeah, no bonuses. Sorry, guys."
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Meanwhile, I'm
terrible.
taking my money to the bank.
That's terrible. That's probably lawsuit worthy as well. There's no way that that's legal. I refuse to believe it.
That's the thing. That's when you work for Gearbox, you get paid less money because you're paid more in the promise of bonuses.
Yeah. Well, then you don't get it. So if you're promised, it's not really a promise if they don't give it to you. Anyways, yep. They
I mean,
went.
that does kind of suck, though. That you would like to see something other than just an Activision Call of Duty.
Oh yeah.
Or even just
And
put
that's-
him to Blizzard. Like, get him working on Diablo 4. Like,
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah,
sad
anything
part.
else, yeah.
Is like, yeah, we can joke about remasters and say we want something new, and then they did something new, and they still got screwed.
And
in
under his
fairness,
leadership,
that's
I will say
that's one
they went from
company,
10
yeah.
million to 70 billion dollars market capitalization, which is pretty substantial. And he was like, you know, you figure he'd be making more as a salary, but I guess that makes sense. 1.7, and then he probably gets all his money in bonuses. Is probably where that comes from. All right. Next story here. Cyberpunk managers still win big bonuses after shoddy game launch. Bonus talk, of course, by Jason Schreier. Cyberpunk was the video game industry's biggest flop of 2020. Yet the executives who run the Polish studio that made the game will nonetheless receive millions of dollars in bonuses this year. So what I thought was interesting about this is, like, it doesn't really matter if your game is shit or not, or if it comes out with bugs, if it needs to be fixed, or if people are just critically unacclaimed. If it sells well, you know, you're gonna make a lot of money on it, and that game undoubtedly sold very, very well. So I thought this was kind of interesting, and they also bring up the Bobby Kotick 50% pay cut, and they're talking. It's basically a lot of talk around like game managers and CEOs and kind of how. I don't know. There's a lot of attention now in the gaming industry on price hierarchies and like salary hierarchies and bonuses and how we incentivize video games and incentivize you know, how we reward video game makers and video game developers. And I think it's an important discussion, because if you do incentivize the right way, which it would be creating a good game that runs well, that people enjoy, rather we only incentivize sales, which, you know, obviously is going to be the case, but you know, if we incentivized any other way, we would probably see a much higher quality of game release. We wouldn't see as many fucking remakes. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of all incentivized to just pump out sales, and, you know, these guys are going to get huge bonuses. There's no reason for them to do anything else. This was a new game, and it's awesome to see, and it was a great game, I think. It's just unfortunate kind of how many bugs plagued it, but nonetheless, they did get rewarded.
This is where we are. This is where we are with gaming. It's, if you want to make a quick buck, you remaster something, or you make games as a live service. You endure the backlash, and the people that will wail on it will wail on it.
Wail away.
But I'm looking at this Schreier thread where he's talking about how they allocated 2.98 million for bonuses to 865 employees, while also allocating an additional 28 million to 5 board members.
Yeah, makes sense. Give them all to the managers.
And he's also talking about averages, where it's like, you know, and this is the tweet. It's helping to remember that averages are misleading. CD Projekt staff, not counting the board, got an average bonus of 34,000 per person, but that doesn't mean most of them receive that. Hypothetically, if one person gets 100,000 and 4 others get 5,000, That's an
Right,
average
that's
of
an average.
24,000.
That's why you can't. You have to use the mode. You have to use like
Mhm.
more of a modal situation. But they're not going to show you that. They're going to show you the average. It's like, all right, is your janitor making $43,000? You know what I mean? No,
I mean,
definitely
these are
not.
things you would know if you just took basic high school statistics and probability.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people don't read this far. You know what I mean? Some people go, "Oh,
Listen,
wow, it's a
I
great
was
company to work for."
I was a C student at best in math, and in high school I got an A in statistics and probability. So
All right. Epic versus Apple purchased the courtroom. Valve is also getting sued over Steam. Humble Bundle is going after Steam, talking about Valve's 30%
oh, you want to talk about
toll.
Humble Bundle? The fact that they are pretty much no longer a charity anymore.
Oh, why? What happened?
They have limited, God, I think it's limited up to 15% max for donations to charity now. Let me see if I can
What does
find
that
it.
mean? Wait, what does that mean? So like
So
their bundles now only give 15% to the charity, I guess.
something like that. Here we go.
Send it to me.
I'm trying to find. This is directly from them.
This was
About their
recently?
bundle pages. This happened April 23rd.
Okay.
Put it in the Discord. This is from them, so I'll see if I can find more than that. But hold on, wrong server.
All right, see here.
That's from them.
Single game
And
bundle.
this is because IGN acquired Humble Bundle, by the way.
Oh, wow.
So the basic breakdown is default charity donations will be 5% with a hard cap at 15%. Primary focus
Wait,
shifted
wait,
from supporting
wait,
charity
wait,
to
wait,
profit
wait, wait, wait,
margins.
wait. IGN, a publishing company that does game reviews, now owns a game store. That
Yeah.
is a huge conflict of interest.
Oh yeah, and especially one that was dedicated to making bundles forward with big charity in mind. And now the charity aspect is quote unquote no more than a marketing tool.
That is a huge conflict of interest. Interesting.
That's what the whole point of Humble Bundle was that you got games at good prices and then you also gave money to charity.
Yeah.
Now it's just another game front. It's just another game storefront. That's all it is.
The extra to charity toggle will triple the split for charity to 15%.
That's their hard cap now. It didn't used to be capped at 15%.
Do you know what it was?
I don't think there was one. If you wanted to donate, I remember buying Humble Bundle games where it's like if I wanted to donate all of it to charity, I could.
Really?
This was years ago, but yeah.
Oh, okay. So here's a little slider. It says default 20. There's a split that shows you to the publisher, to the charity, and then to the store. And then you can do extra to charity, which allows you to instead of the publisher, it goes to the charity instead of taking it from. Well, I guess it does take it from the store as well. So they're extra charity. All right. So there's two different situations here. So there's like a default allocation, and then you can actually say, "Oh, I'd rather give 15% to the charity." But I didn't know what it was before. I'd be interested to know how much of a split. I guess if you wanted to give the whole thing to the charity, you could.
Yeah, that was an option.
I'm more
You
interested
could
in that
give
IGN now
100%.
owns a game store. That's like if fucking, Roger and Ebert fucking doing movie reviews, like owned a studio. Like, of course they're going to give their studios the best fucking reviews. That's insane. That's insane. Well, I didn't know this. Interesting. Okay. There you go. IGN being sneaky. Being sneaky. How much did they acquire Humble Bundle for?
That's a good question, actually.
How much do you think?
Well, I could probably look it up.
Interesting.
Okay, this is from Polygon in 2017, by the way, is when
Okay.
IGN acquired Humble Bundle. Financial terms of the deal, which was first pro by Master, were not disclosed.
Of course not.
Let me see what the Master post said.
Well,
This
anyways,
was in October of 2017.
well, while you look for that, this article states that Humble Bundle is talking about Steam. Wolfire claims Valve now controls approximately 75% of the entire PC gaming market, reaping an estimated $6 billion annual revenue as a result from that 30% fee alone. Over $15 million per year per Valve employee, assuming the company still has somewhere in the vicinity of 360 employees. As to how Valve might be abusing its power, there's a laundry list of complaints that you might want to read in full, but the arguments seem to boil down to every other company's attempt to compete with Steam has failed to make a dent, even though many of them offer developers bigger cuts of the profits, such as the Epic Game Store, 88% revenue share. Steam doesn't allow publishers to sell PC games and game keys for less money elsewhere. That in turn means rival game platforms can't compete on price, which keeps them from getting a foothold. Most of those rival game stores have largely given up, like how EA and Microsoft each brought their games back to Steam. That ensures Steam stays the dominant platform because companies that could become competitors are reduced to simply feeding the Steam engine with their games or selling Steam keys, which is a valid argument. I mean, it's the same argument that's against the Apple Store and in any sort of lock-in store that's big.
So I can't find the actual sale price, but I do find something funny.
Okay.
This was from 2017, mind you. In a conversation today with your master, Humble Bundle co-founder John Graham and IGN executive VP Mitch Galbraith reiterated that IGN does not intend to change the way Humble does business. If it's not broken, why don't fix it, said Galbraith, who explained that IGN started looking to make a deal like this nearly a year ago. The idea is to just feed them with resources they need to keep doing what they're doing. We want to stick to the fundamentals in the short term. We don't want to disrupt anything we're doing right already. Because of the shared vision and overlap of our customer bases, there's going to be a lot of opportunities. 3 years later, they fixed what really wasn't broken.
Yeah. Yes, they did. They essentially, IGN now owns a game store, which I think is really a huge conflict of interest, but I guess that's up for the FCC to decide. Anyways, interesting to see to talk about monopolies and you know how we kind of treat monopolies in this country. And you know, if you create a monopoly, you're probably going to get sued and you're probably going to get broken up, and it's probably going to breed in a little more competition in the marketplace, which is probably a good thing. But it's a long fucking battle. We're going to see who wins. We really don't know yet. I mean, Apple hasn't lost its battle with the Apple Store, and that's like the biggest example of this, right? At locking things down to one hardware platform. At least with Steam, you know, it's not really hardware specific, you know. But there are some interesting monopoly attempts that, you know, they of course created over the many decades it's been around.
True, but now is also probably the hardest time to go after them because I think there's more diversity than ever.
There's more stores, yeah. I mean, Humble Bundle, that's a smart idea. You have Humble Bundle, you have Games Pass.
You have Humble Bundle, you have Good Old Games, you have Microsoft themselves with Xbox now, you have Epic, you have everyone and their mothers going to their own launcher.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what there's Fanatical, isn't that Fanatical? There's a lot of sales on Fanatical, I get.
What is that, like a Steam key or a key store or something?
Yeah, it's a Steam key store, but you can get things for like, I think I got Guilty Gear Accent Core Plus R from them for like 90% off.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of
There's
other
some really good deals on Fanatical.
There's definitely a lot of other stores now. It's you know, are they as successful as Steam? Obviously not, but it's going to be hard when you have decades of dedicated, you know, storefront. That's just kind of how it's going to be.
Then honestly, it's the fucking library too.
Yeah,
You
go on
Steam. Having it in one place. It's easy to just be like, oh, yep, here it all is, and oh, here I can download it or undownload it, etc., etc.
And there's way better social interactions on Steam and like the whole review thing. Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, well, now I have to re-download Origin and then re-download the game, and then when I'm done with it, uninstall Origin.
Yeah.
Or switch to the next one.
How about this? Basecamp implodes as employees flee company, including senior staff. So like what happened with Coinbase, CEO Jason Fried of Basecamp put out these things that this like blog post, Changes at Basecamp, and he basically states that he doesn't want any employees making any sort of political or societal or political discussions on internal forums, and this has caused many of them to flee the company, saying like, you can't do this, because the problem is, this is the problem. I don't think anyone has a problem saying like, no politics, no religion, nothing like that in the workplace. I mean, there used to be a time where no one even discussed this stuff. But the problem is now like issues are getting wrapped into quote unquote politics. There's like, a lot of like civil issues that we're talking about today that aren't political in nature, but somehow they get seen as political. That's a huge problem. So when you have, especially nowadays with a lot of what's going on with civil rights, when you have this kind of culture of injustice, having a company that does this, you're just gonna get people to not want to work for you. It just doesn't make much sense for them to do this. I know why they assume it's a good idea, and I know why they do it, but it's a terrible idea in practice, and you're just not gonna get the best people to work for you. That's just unfortunate. You know what I mean? If you're a company, you want the best people to work for you. You're gonna get people that, unfortunately, you're just going to need a job at that point. And if you're going to have an entire company filled with people that just need a job, you're going to have more instances of just failure, more failure points at your company. It's a very stupid idea. So the company's basically employed. Everyone's leaving it. I mean, I would as well. You don't want to have this like dark cloud hanging over your head at any company you work for, because who knows, like whatever take you make might not seem political in nature, but they might deem it like, who makes that decision? It's insane.
True. If you're arguing it from that standpoint, I agree, but I also understand where it's like, okay, I think it's a difference of like if it was just in a Slack room and you're just chatting, you know what I mean? Or like, no, dude, it's on the forums for everyone to see, and here's a fucking manifesto of your beliefs. Like, no one wants to see that.
Yeah, but I understand like the intent behind it. But I also understand, like, who knows how far it goes. If someone says, like, I support this movement, they can say, like, oh, that's political, and you can't do that. And you're like, wait, this is not political. You know what I mean?
True.
Who makes that decision?
But that's its own thing where it's its own argument versus, like, the forums. Like, that's just weird to me. It's like, forums is weird. Still having forums is weird. Just like
for a
if
company,
it was just in a Slack room, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like that's one thing. But if it's like nope, this is a public, like, forums is like your bulletin board. You know what I mean? Like that's where you post like this is for everybody to see, and this is what's public knowledge in the company. You know what I mean? That's not just like you guys having a conversation of like things that are important. That's like saying like. It's like it's a bulletin board. It's sticking a giant note on the bulletin board of like, hey, or that's a little weirder.
And I mean, he doesn't seem to be
like that. You do kind of have a intent behind, I guess, so to say.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, it does make sense. It's tough because, and here he's not backing down. And like the same thing happened at Coinbase. They didn't back down from it. They're not saying, okay, you guys were right, we're sorry. It's like, no, this is what our we don't want any of this, And then here he writes, yesterday we offered everyone at Basecamp an option of a severance package worth up to 6 months salary for those who've been with the company over 3 years and 3 months salary for those less than that. No hard feelings, no questions asked. For those who cannot see a future at Basecamp under this new direction, we'll help them each and every way so they can land somewhere else. Which I think is kind of admirable. They're just like, look, this is what we're doing. If you don't like it, then you can leave and we'll hook you up. We'll give you your package if you don't want to. No hard feelings. So there you go. Corpro is getting so political these days. It's insane. They're getting so political. I can understand it, but you just got to be careful at kind of how you deliberate that stuff. Some people you're not going to get the best talent, that's for sure. All right.
I mean, that's you're also putting a great example there, though, of it's Corpo becoming super political by saying, please don't talk about politics.
Yeah, well, that's what. No, I don't mean it as in like the CEO like being like political. I mean like the employees themselves. You know what I mean? Like when you see like people can't like anytime some decision gets made at a company, the employees come out and they're like, oh, we're taking a stand. It's like the corporate life is now a political place or a place where you can make a political stance and you can make you can
see,
protest essentially.
Okay, so this is where I agree with you. Is now that I'm reading about it on like New York Times, it says they were using messaging tools. See, that's where it gets weirder for me. Like if it was just on Slack and they're saying
Right.
clamping down on that, that's kind of weird. That's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
But if it's like a forum post, you know what I mean? That's where you get into that weird like issue that Google had a couple of years ago, where you had like that one dude who became famous on Fox News for like
His
making
manifesto.
super weird misogynist shit on.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what
I mean, yeah. And that's the problem when
Having
you
a
implement stuff like
manifesto.
this. It gets so dicey. Like you're gonna get gray areas and gray situations where it's gonna get dicey. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to make certain decisions on what to do, and you know, I don't fault the company for putting stuff like this in place, but just know, like, you know, you're gonna have to. There's a certain sort of like moderation that's gonna have to be put in place that it's not gonna be fun.
Excuse me. I mean, I don't know. It's weird because it's an online. It's the idea of what's the water cooler for online.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What can you say at the water cooler? Is the water cooler a water cooler if everyone can see it? You know what I mean?
Well, right. That's where I was trying to draw a difference between like,
Yeah.
you know, you're just talking to your little two people on Slack versus like a fucking forum post. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Do they even have
Forum
water
post
coolers
isn't the water
anymore?
cooler.
Do they even have water coolers anymore? Just because of COVID, they've shut them all down.
Who knows? I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. All right. Any other gaming news, Doobie? Otherwise, we're gonna jump into some tech and get the fuck out of here.
The only thing I can think of is Apex getting a new update next week,
Sick.
and it's a big one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That
they're
game
adding a
still
new mode.
exists.
Yeah. It's like this.
They're adding a new permanent mode to the game that is 3v3 arenas.
Oh, sick.
It's got a bit of that Counter-Strike / Valorant. I only mentioned Valorant because it's essentially ripped off of Counter-Strike, where each round you have a buying phase where you buy your weapons, you buy items, things like that. And then it's a first. You're trying to think. It's like it's a weird situation where you have to have more than 2 wins to claim victory, but it can go up to 9 rounds. It's an interesting thing. I'm wondering how it's going to be balanced, but it's cool that they're adding a totally new mode, so it's not just a battle royale anymore.
Yeah. Interesting. I'll check it out when it comes out. All right.
I won't. I'm gonna be honest. The only times I ever see people still playing that game is when EA gives them money to.
Well, where's
Dang,
it at
I
on
gotta
Twitch?
talk to Skittles. Apparently, Skittles is getting paid because he's getting back into it.
The other day I saw it's pretty high up on Twitch. It seems as if it's
Yes, because EA paid a bunch of streamers.
Oh yeah? I mean it's
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
what
doing
I'm.
too
That's
bad.
what I'm talking about. Is like that's the only time I've seen that game relevant on Twitch or anything. Is like, oh yeah, I'm doing a sponsored stream,
Yeah.
and then they never touch it again.
Hashtag ad.
Yeah.
I will say Path of Exile has been at highest numbers I've seen in a while. There's a lot of people playing it, which is pretty cool. And they're getting ripped. All right. iMacs and iPads and Air Tags. Apple had their spring.
Give me a new camera.
An Apple camera is what you want? Is that what you said?
Nah, not from Apple. I
Oh.
just want a new camera. I want new camera news, dude. I'm like fiending.
I know
want
we've
these- I
been
want-
in a drought, camera drought.
We need the R6 competitor that doesn't overheat and lets me actually record video.
You mean that you need
affordable.
the A4, the A74, or whatever the fuck it's called.
Basically.
That's what you mean. Well, there is some camera news. Oh, we'll touch on it first, and then we'll get to Apple. Sony released some new lenses. They released something else too, but these are the ones that I kind of want to talk about. These like small little primes. $600, 24 to 2.8, 42.5, 52.5. I think they're cool. They got the clicking sort of apertures. It's got like a Fuji sort of like, little barrel style. And I like them. I think they're cool. I like cheap, fast lenses. More
They're
for
cool,
them.
but they should be cheaper, in my opinion.
It's 600's up
Like,
there.
Yeah, that should be more like 400 because that's So in Fuji land, you pay under 400 for an f3 of that lens. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's like, sure, it's slightly faster, which does matter, but it's also weird that they're like f2.5, which is a weird f-stop.
it is. It is an odd,
But
weird aperture.
but they're cool. They're fine.
Yeah.
I don't hate them. I don't love them. I wish they had more variety though.
What do you
'Cause, like,
mean, like a
that's the
wide, a
nice
super
thing.
wide, or a super tight?
Like, yeah, because like that's the nice fun thing about like the Fuji Prime set is like you can get the f2 line, which is super cheap, and it ends up being an f3 full frame equivalent, which is like pretty awesome. But they have you have a 16 mil, so you have in full frame equivalent sizes, you have a 24 f4, you have a 23, a 30, or a 35, excuse me, a 30, 24, a 35, a 50, a 75, you have a 90. Like, you know what I mean? Where they just got to keep fleshing that out instead of a 40 and a 50.
Yeah, 20. They already have a 24, I believe, right? There's already like a 24 G Master that's out there, which is like, I don't
Well,
know.
right, but that's in a different range than what I'm talking about. I'm talking of the cheapos, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a 24 1.4 G Master. And then I think there's another one though, but I think there
And
is
I mean,
another
but
24.
that's what Fuji did good is you have the cheapo line and then you have the G Master equivalent line that's more expensive.
Yeah.
I'm talking about just these new ones of like that cheapo line. It's a good start. I just wish they should have done like a 35, a 50, and like a 80. You know what I mean? Or something like that would have been more interesting to me than a 24, a 35, a 24 and a 40 and a 50, I think they made.
Yeah. But look,
I don't
like
get
right here,
like
there's a
they should have
28.
just gotten rid of the 40. Even the 40 is really awesome. 40 is actually a good spot because that's a 28 on a APS-C camera.
But here they
Like
have a
40
28
is cool.
F2 for $500.
There
And
you
then you
go.
have the
Okay.
24 G Master. And then I think there's another one too. Like that like 20 range, like that vlog style range is like super duper weird that there's so many different
Yeah, but they
kinds.
don't. But do they have a cheap one
This I would say the
that fits in
28.
the
It's not
set?
24, but it's a 28 F2 and it's 450 is the price on it. So
Right,
it's
but do they
cheaper
have
than this.
like what's their 24? Do they have a 24 f2.8?
No, it's only the G Master, I believe.
Yeah, like they need that, but like it's not so much that I'm just saying in this like cheap line, like if you want to make this contemporary thing for the A7C and actually compete with Fuji, that's what I want to see is I want to see a bigger line of that.
Yeah. It looks like they
Because
are
that's
fleshing
that's that's what
this cheaper
Fuji's
line out though, which
yeah.
and I like
It's
the
more just the
small
fact that
style.
it's more just the fact that they did a 40 and a 50.
Yeah.
Like they should like
They should have did
choose one or
a
the
40
they
and
should
a
have chose one or
70 or
the other
something,
and
or an 80.
yeah, like it should have chose one or the other, done a wide, done the 50 and then done a telly.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
that would have been cooler because then you can say like cool, now I have like a full set that actually covers a standard range, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I'm sure we'll probably see more of this stuff. It seems like they're really focusing on like that prosumer market, and it seems to be doing really well for them.
Yeah.
And I think they
I'd
look
wait till this go
rad. I
down to like
mean, a lot of what
400.
Sony's doing interests me, for sure.
Looks kind of cool.
I wish they had this when I had
I
like
like the
my
way
whole
Fuji
A6000 phase, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. I like the way Fuji's look better, but that's subjective.
Well, Fuji's like the look wise for sure. Fuji's always
Oh yeah. I'm interested to see though what Sony keeps doing with this since they're trying to make this like A7C fake Fuji a thing.
yeah. It's fascinating. And I like it.
Because this is nicer. Because the first lens that came out with that camera was that one compact zoom that was fucking trash,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But like it was like what the 28 to 60 or some weird shit that no, just no.
Yeah. Yeah, the I mean the entire Sony lens lineup is so vast though, it's insane. Cuz then you have all the Sigma stuff which is like competitively priced to their own stuff.
And the Tamron stuff.
Cuz you can get
And
this Sigma 24
more.
1.4 art lens for only like a couple $100 more. 850 it's selling for.
Yeah.
It's it's substantially larger for sure, but it's still like I
Okay.
don't know. It's interesting.
No,
I kind of like
that's the
them going the
hard-
Fuji route though. Keep things small, tiny, cheap. Let's keep going
I
down
think
this
they
route.
have. I think they have to because yeah, it's like otherwise I would never buy. Like it's one of those things where it's gotten to the point where why would I ever buy a G Master lens? I'm just buy a nice Sigma.
You really shouldn't buy a G Master lens, unless you can write it off on your taxes or you're getting or
Yeah.
companies paying for you. Like you really shouldn't be getting G Master lenses or like there's so many great cheaper options that hold their value pretty well, you know what I mean? Like all the
It's just
all
so
the lenses
good.
hold their value well.
Yeah, it's had good. I mean, to an extent, not as much Tamron, even though they have some really cool options. But like Sigma's gotten just so good where it's like, yeah, the what 24 to 70 f2.8's like a grand, and the G Master's 2.2 grand, and you're talking like minor differences between those two lenses.
And this Tamron 11 to 20 millimeter f2.8, $800. Like that rocks. That's an awesome range. 11 to 20 on full frame.
That one, that's not full frame,
Oh, it's
but
not.
it is a cool lens. No, that one's APS-C, but that is a cool lens.
Oh, damn.
That's AP. That's only for crop, and it's a six 16 or 15 to 35
Yeah,
f4.
but that still rocks.
It rocks because it's also tiny as shit. I mean, for like a 50, like if
Oh, I
you're
thought it
thinking
was.
full frame 15 to 30 f4, it's fucking tiny.
Yeah. Keep going, Tamron. Oh, update on my stream, my Camlink Pro. It got lost
Yeah,
in the
did you
mail.
get that?
It got lost in the
That
mail.
figures.
So I had to contact Corsair, which I was like, there's no way they're going to answer their phone. They answered their phone. I spoke to someone about it. They said they're going to call me back. They don't know what's going on with it. They emailed me. They said it got lost in the mail. We're going to send you out. We can either refund you or send you out a new one. I said, just send me out a fucking new one and ship a priority because I wanted this a fucking month ago. So we should have it soon, I hope. But I hope. We'll see. It got lost in the mail.
That'd be
But
fun to test.
yeah. There's so much fun stuff that I want to do that you can't do with the ATEM that would really work with. So once I get it in, I'll do all sorts of videos on it and you guys can see what I'm doing with it and we'll see how the quality is and how the recording is. But yeah, that's the update on that. It got lost in the fucking mail. Thank you to FedEx. FedEx lost it. Or no, I'm sorry, UPS. UPS lost it.
I want Panasonic to also come out with that same cheap line. I think everyone needs to come out with that cheap line. Like
For what, for
that's where
lenses?
yeah, of lenses. Like that's where Fuji and Canon just kind of kill it.
Yep. I mean, that's where a lot of them make their bread and butter though. I can understand cheap bodies and then locking you into like an expensive lens lineup. But I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
like though that's the problem Panasonic has right now. It's just like every day I go on B&H and I'm like, I could buy an S5 right now. They're cheap as hell for what they are. But then you look at glass and it's like, oh, okay, no
Yeah.
thanks.
All right. The ATEM got the Atomus got an update. Ninja 5 Pro. Is it the Ninja V or a Ninja 5? It's got to be 5, right? But I don't remember there being a Ninja 4. So maybe it's a Ninja V. Ninja 5 Pro kit. And this includes...
It's not what I wanted, dude. I wanted a new Ninja Star.
You want a Ninja Star?
Yeah, dude. Make a 4K Ninja Star that's just baller.
I mean, this is pretty baller. It's just expensive as fuck. So the price on it is
but, like,
$1,500.
I mean, you remember the Ninja Star? Like, it doesn't have a screen. It's just a little box, right?
Yeah.
I literally just want a little box, SSD box.
I mean,
that
I'd
you
be
just plug
into it.
any fucking camera. It weighs nothing. You know what I mean? Please give me that. Turn any camera into a Blackmagic SSD recording machine.
I'd be into it for sure. Well, I don't know why there's a need for a screen, but well, I guess I do know why, because the reason the screens are awesome, like they're reference screens, so that makes sense. But yeah, I would agree, like that would be sick. Nonetheless, this isn't the specific one. Let's see, I gotta find the right one. The Ninja 5 Pro kit. No. There's an update which gives us 8K raw recording. I can't find it though. This website is AIDS. Jesus Christ. Here we go.
Thought that was
Oh,
the
it's the
Ninja-
I'm sorry,
the Ninja
it's the
5.
Ninja V Plus. That's the update. So the 8K Ninja V Plus here, and you can see here's the little family lineup.
$1,500.
1500. You get only H.265 recording, but it records in Apple ProRes RAW. You also get 4K 60. You get 10-bit HDR, of course. You get 8K 30, 4K 120 RAW, 4K 60 RAW, RAW over HDMI, RAW over SDI optional with the kit, and then 8 Avid DNX 1500. So essentially, this allows you to now record off of your Canon R5, because I mean that's pretty much the only one. I guess the Sony A thing too.
Okay, so far this camera works with an R5, which for your 8K, Zcam E2,
And the FX9 and FX6.
yeah, an FX6 and an FX9. That's all that works so far.
Yeah. Which makes, I mean, those are the only cameras with these type of capabilities anyway.
I mean, it kind of
That you would use it for. You're not really going to use it for like a Sony A7S III, which can just record 4K 60 and you know what I mean, with no, unless you wanted
But I
that raw capability.
would.
But
Well, that's the thing is I'm sure it will start working with, especially since you have the FX6 and the FX9 already figured out. I'm sure the FX3 slash A7S III will, because that should be there. Just because it's the same argument of the R5 of just like, no, you're not gonna, like, sure you can use it for the 8K, but like really what you want is the 4K 60 and the 4K 120 also in ProRes.
yeah.
Because that's the fun part of the FX3 A7S III is you got the full 12-bit raw data over the original Ninja 5.
Yeah.
So you bring that to everything.
It says Ninja 5 owners will soon benefit from the ability to record using 10-bit H.265 codec by purchasing the upgrade for $100. Having the ability to record H.265 means adding more versatility to the Ninja 5. So if you have a Ninja 5, as I do, you can pay $100 to get 10-bit H.265 capability. I don't exactly know what sort of codec this is writing it in. I'm imagining it's writing it in whatever their standard recording format is, H.265, H.264, MP4 wrapper, whatever that is. I don't think you're going to have any issues with like transcoding is basically what I'm saying.
You'll be able to get H.265 on the original at up to 4K 60 10-bit 422i.
Okay.
So that's what the main thing that $100 gets you. So
Yeah.
basically, if you have a Ninja 5 and you don't need the 8K or the 120,
You could just pay $100.
but you still want better 4K 60,
Yeah.
there you go.
Which rocks, which is probably what I'm going to do. Even though I've been shooting a lot of 8K because it fucking rocks. It just sucks on the R5 because obviously it's limited. But having the ability to record RAW, we'll see if I want to spend $1,500 on that. That's a camera body. That's a new lens. Like that's a substantial amount of money for just a recorder. But I mean, this is the only recorder you'll really ever need for many years. So we'll see. Kind of my opinions on it. Maybe I'll buy it next year or something. For now, I'm pretty set with what I got. I'll just pay $100 to get the 4K 60. But yeah, this is pretty interesting. There you go. A new Animus. I like this stuff more recently. Like I get more excited about like this stuff and like the ATEMs, like what Blackmagic is doing. Like I like a lot of the camera accessory stuff that kind of adds new features to your cameras or makes things easier, as opposed to just like new bodies or new lenses. Just because I feel like the bodies and the lenses, everything's pretty good. I like things like that kind of just like enhance whatever you're doing.
Oh, it's, yeah. Well, that's also because you got an R5, so you're kind of set and you need this kind of stuff to make it work.
Yeah.
I still just want a 4K 64K 24 10-bit machine that costs like $2,000. It seems impossible to do.
It's not impossible. They just want you
No,
to,
it's
to not
actually
spend 2
really
grand on it.
fucking easy to do, but
They can do
Yeah.
it. They just want you to pay a little bit more for that
it's
experience
been on
because they know
it's been on a fucking Fuji body for 6 years. It feels like now at this point.
they know exactly what you want, and they're just gonna hold out as long as they possibly can.
No, I know. It's just it's that's like my main annoyance where it's just like, dude, you've been able to do this on Fuji for like 8 or so crop cameras. You've been able to do this for like three almost 4 years now.
Yeah,
But to just get a good, solid, basic, full frame, nah,
with AF and IBIS.
nah, yeah, nah.
All right, what about an iMac with an M1 and a
Oh, did you
iPad
talk about
display?
the stream thing though? Because that sounds interesting. Also,
No, I didn't. Wait. Let me bring it up.
did you see that?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Because you're talking
The
about
Ninja Stream
going,
thing.
yeah, going back to ideas of Delgado and the
ATEM.
ATEM. You can now do full Ethernet and Wi-Fi.
Wait a
And
second.
you
I
can
didn't
actually
see
like
this.
link.
Hold
You
on.
can link your ninjas together.
Hold on. Excited to announce Adamus Ninja Stream, a 5-inch 4K 60 HDR monitor recorder with Wi-Fi, Ethernet, USB-C, to usher in a new era of streaming on productions without a computer in sight. Whoa, interesting. Incredibly powerful Ninja Stream allows you to capture, edit, proxy record, share others on a set via Wi-Fi and Ethernet, plus live streamer content around the world without the need for a PC. And it does so with H.264 and H.265, 4K 60, 10-bit HDR, and Apple ProRes. Price not announced yet. Due to its premium price point, will be sold into big productions. Rental. Oh, it's going to be expensive. Is what they're saying.
It's gonna be expensive, but sounds cool.
That is really cool. That is really, really cool. I am excited to see what this is going to actually be and how. I'm imagining it's going to be like $3,000. That's my assumption on the price point. Maybe even more. Because if it's transcoding and streaming 10-bit HDR H.265 4K 60 video, that's fucking insane. Without a computer, like if it's doing it all and then shooting it over Wi-Fi, I don't even know. I guess you would bake the LUT into the machine.
Right. I mean, well, yeah, you just do it like you do with a Ninja right now.
Yeah, you would just
And
bake it in
instead
and
of
then
just previewing the LUT, it will actually load the LUT.
yeah, and then just shoot it over Wi-Fi or Ethernet. That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Is this
Like,
it?
it's
Is this
really
it here with
cool.
this antenna? Is that what they're showing here?
I think so, yeah.
Whoa.
Like I mean, I know we won't see this for a bit and it won't be
Affordable.
easy to get your hands on, you know what I mean? But like that's fucking cool though.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like tech wise, that's just fucking sick and kind of what we want, you know what I mean, especially for the future. Like just plug a full gig Ethernet cord into it, you know what I mean, and then there
Yeah.
you go. You don't need an ATEM anymore. You can literally
Dude, like IRL streaming in the future with like fucking 5G internet, and you just connect your Adamus to your fucking C300, and then you can just fucking record like 4K 60 HDR 10-bit live stream footage. What? On the street. That would be sick. Cool. I didn't even look at that. That's awesome. What are these neons? Oh, new monitors. Okay. All right, back to Apple.
Okay, yeah.
Let's get to Apple. Apple, first of all, I just want to touch on their second quarter results. They are blowing numbers away. The pandemic didn't hurt them at all. The numbers are insane. They're selling insane. They're doing insane. Everyone wants Apple. And I'm going to tell you why. The competition against Apple right now is almost non-existent. They're really, really ramping things up. And it's impressive, but it's a little worrying because competition is good. We want competition. I guess we're just waiting to see what some of these other chip developers do, what the PC sides do, what Windows is doing, what Android's doing, what Google's doing, what Samsung's doing. They don't quite have like the hardware ecosystem infrastructure put in place to kind of even catch up, but it is interesting to see kind of Apple just like posting like record-breaking numbers through a pandemic. So there you go with that. And then they released new iMacs, new iPads, new AirTags, and a purple iPhone, which we won't talk about. But I'm more interested in what you think of the iMac. I think it's pretty fucking cool.
It's cool. I'm not nearly as excited about it as I originally was.
Me
And
either.
the biggest reason, like, okay, thank God they finally fixed the bezels. Let's get that out of the way.
Now they
Looks
made
a
them
lot
white.
Yeah, but they're
No, they're
I can deal
minuscule.
with small bezels that aren't 3 fucking inches like they've
No,
always
it
been.
looks I will say I love the
It's a giant
design.
iPad.
I love the design
It's a
of
giant
it.
iPad.
I know it's been somewhat controversial. I usually always like Apple designs. Their design team I think is really good. I think the colors are sick. I think I think they made it look fucking sick. It's a giant iPad, like you said.
I mean, I think it's one of the weakest designs they've had in a while, but I'm fine with it.
I love how everything is square now, and everything is the design language is consistent across your iPad, your iPhone, your iMacs. That's pretty cool. I personally really dig the
I'm
orange.
very curious if okay, so this is what I want to know and really hope is the stand removable?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It doesn't look
Can I
like it
take
because I don't see any
right?
VESA mounting points.
Like, let me take that stand off of it and use it as a giant fucking iPad of just a battery bank on the back of it.
That would be sick, actually.
Right?
Or like a
'Cause that's
portable
what I mean,
iMac.
we'll
You can
get
just put
into
it in a
it.
backpack. It's 24 inches, so it's
This
not
thing,
that big.
this thing's right, but it's a laptop. Like, and it now they made it super small. Like that's what originally got me excited about it was like, oh yeah, like you literally could just power this thing through Thunderbolt on the back and it's mobile. You know what I mean?
Let me look it up. Let me see if you can remove the stand. Let me see. iMac 2021 remove stand, I guess is. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think.
I guess
yeah,
we're
I don't
not
think
going to
you
know
can,
until
but-
people get their hands on it, it looks like. Because there's
Yeah.
nothing that says that.
And I don't think the stand is removable, but like that's kind of like the dream is just like, yeah, just let me take the stand off of it and it's a giant iPad. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
that's true. I think they're
It's like
sick,
it's
though.
like not even an inch. It's not. It's the size of a laptop. It's just it's a giant iPad. It's less than 10 pounds with the stand. So if you take the stand off of it, like
No, it's so light, dude. This thing is like.
yeah, like
It's so
you
light.
just strap a battery bank on the back of it, and there you go.
Now, I know a lot of people were like, all right, well, it's the same M1.
That's where I finally started having an issue with it.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, it is kind of cool, but like
Which is not bad. It's just not.
they needed to beef it up, or like say, here's the M2 that we're all hearing rumors about already.
Yeah.
Of like put it in that first, I guess, because the idea of it where it kind of sucks is like, all right, so Apple's always been true to this, and this has been always the thing is your desktop is usually a little bit cheaper but has more power.
Yeah.
Your laptop sacrifices power for portability.
Yeah.
Now that they're all the same thing, the problem is the iMac is more expensive than any of their laptops.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you ever buy it then? Just like right. Okay, so this is my problem is even with student discounts, this thing is $1,250, $1,300, or I can buy a $900 laptop. It's the same exact fucking thing and a $300 monitor.
Yeah. That's what is a little bit because with just the same M1, you're kind of getting the same performance. Now, it's not really meant for like this is something I would buy for the house, for the wife. Like this isn't something I would really use. But I would still want like a little bit more. Like I still want like a little bit more. We still don't even really know how this environment works with like pro apps, like right, like Photoshop and shit like that. Like, we see what it does on the laptop and it's pretty good. And the desktop, you have the ability to cool it better. You have like better things you can do with it. And they don't really do that. They basically just said like, we're just going to put it on like a skinny display that looks nice.
There's no extra graphics. There's no
Yeah.
extra like anything, you know what I mean? Where it's like,
It would have been nice if we saw like a
That
little
kinda- That's
bump.
kind of a bummer, dude. That's a real bummer. Where it's like it's a really cool new design. I do really kind of want it, but then I'm also sitting here like,
Yeah.
why the fuck wouldn't I just buy a new monitor and a MacBook Air?
They're basically saying the only
It's the
reason
same
you would
fucking
want to
thing.
buy this is because it comes in nice colors and it looks nice. That's the only reason you
Yeah.
would spend the money on it, which isn't a bad
might-
thing. Like I don't think that's a bad thing either because I do think it looks sick and it's a nice, You know, you walk into a house and you see an orange iMac. Like, that's pretty sick.
And it might do that. It's just weird
I know what you
value proposition wise, where it's just like,
Right. I agree.
eh.
I agree 100%. And that's kind of where I was like, well, maybe I'll wait to see what the next iteration, the iMac Pro looks like. You know what I mean? Like the M1X or M2, what those things look like in an iMac. Because that you'll probably get a better value out of it. You're gonna get a little bit longer life out of it. Because like an iMac sits around for like years. You know what I mean? It's not like the most powerhouse thing. It just sits around. You look at the news on it. You watch YouTube on it. You read your articles and. That's what it's for. It's really not meant to do that stuff. I like the ability to say, okay, well now I want to do some Photoshop.
True though either, because a lot of people do use iMacs for video work.
Yeah,
because you could always get a really good iMac for cheaper for actual video work. You know what I mean? So that's not entirely true either.
Yeah.
And this kind of just shafts them of just like, just buy a fucking MacBook Air, I guess.
But you can edit, like you can do good editing on the M1. That's the thing. It's just I feel like
you can,
it's just not going to last as long. As soon as the M2 comes out, you're going to be like, "Fuck, man!" Like you're losing out so much more performance when that next iteration comes out.
And then that next iteration is going to be $900.
Well, also it'll be a 27-inch. You know what I mean? Because these are the 24 inches, so I'm assuming the 27-inch will have an upgraded core. That's what I'm going to assume. And that might be more interesting to me.
Maybe, hopefully, it's just the thing where like they've completely screwed that value proposition that it's at least always been there, and now it's just not.
I do like it though.
I like it, but it's
like
also very hard for me to justify buying it when it's like, again, I can buy one of their laptops that's the same exact fucking thing for $400 less,
and the laptops are sick. It's not like you're getting a worse experience. You're getting the best laptop in that genre.
Right, but in the laptops also you can take it anywhere. You could plug it into a monitor. You can do anything with it. You know what I mean? You just have all of that flexibility.
You're just paying for the design. That's it. You're really just paying for the design, which I don't have too much of a problem with. That's an Apple thing that they like to do. But I agree. Like, it is a little underwhelming to me as well. I thought their showcase was great. Showcasing the new iMacs, the new iPads, the AirTags, the new fucking credit thing that they were talking about, which kind of interests me. But overall, once you look at it, you're like, all right, well, I'm probably not going to upgrade on this one. I have to upgrade my iMac at some point. Like the iMac that I have is so old. But it's probably not going to be this one.
I mean, no, I want to, but again, why would I? I would I'd rather buy a monitor and just get a new laptop.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the iPads with the M1 now? iPad Pros now out with M1.
They haven't fixed my same issue with iPads, period. I don't care.
What if it had Mac OS
they're really cool. If you could run Mac OS apps on it, I'd buy one in a heartbeat. Said it for about 5 years now. Still can't do it. Don't give a shit.
I know it really gimps the iPad because the M1 rocks. Everyone loves M1. iOS, on the other hand, not everyone loves. And like this is that. I mean, there's gonna be this transition where you can run because it's all the same architecture. I can't imagine like they're just gonna gate it because of the iOS.
What's more annoying is like, especially now that it's all the same hardware. It's just like, okay, literally, why can I not just run a coding program on it and a game on it?
Yeah.
Like, why isn't it just Mac OS? Just make it just let me run at least M1 Mac OS apps on it. Then I'd fucking buy it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Then it's so fucking sick. But yeah. So when I saw this, I was like, all right, this is cool. M1 iPad. I'm thinking playing Path of Exile on my iPad in the future is fucking sick. But for now, it's just like...
But you can't. You can only play Path of Exile mobile.
Yeah, you can't play it right now. You have to wait until they do that jump. They're going to. They have to do it. I can't imagine that they just gate the architecture by iOS and macOS, and I just can't imagine they do that, especially with Surfaces and like, on the Windows side of things, that integration has always been there, and it's becoming more and more increasingly popular. Unfortunately, just hardware-wise, it doesn't stack up. But once they start to catch up, I think Apple is going to be like, okay, let's give the pros what they want and let them install macOS on their iPads.
I mean, that's the same.
Just give us
thing
the
too with
option. You know what I mean? Like, give us the option.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same thing too with like the iMac. Is like, imagine if that was a fucking touchscreen. Be sick.
I disagree. I wouldn't ever touch it. I think what people.
Oh, I totally would.
I know
Dude,
some
it's like
people
this,
would, but myself
like the
personally.
It's like the Surface Hub now. You know what I mean? That's just a giant screen. It's because they made it an iPad. It's a fucking.
Well, I
giant
guess
iPad.
I would
Let me
touch
use
it
like
if
an
you could
iPad.
like fold it down into like drawing mode.
Yeah.
Then I could see that.
Right.
Working,
I
yeah.
mean, imagine if you could do that. That's what I'm saying. Where it's like it's one of those things where it's like it's really cool, but it does kind of suck. Where it's like, wow, if you would have just like,
literally a giant iPad that runs Mac OS as the iMac.
yeah, like if you would have just done like a tiny bit more and gone that extra mile, you could have been talking about a revolutionary product, and now you're just kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
cool, it's fine.
Yeah, that would have been sick. Basically, I mean, they could have just said, "We're not doing iPad Pros. We're not doing iMacs. Now look at the iPad Mac." You know what I mean? Like that folds into like a drawing tablet that you could touch, and it runs M1. Then everyone would buy it, and I would buy the second version. And you know what I mean? Like, I agree. They kind of missed that on that, but it seems like they're still kind of just let's gate everything off from iOS and Mac OS, which I know.
Literally,
whatever.
just let the now that you're doing an M1 iPad, just let it run Mac OS, and make everything a giant iPad,
Yeah.
and there you go.
I'd be
You can
into it.
finally call it a computer.
I'd be into it. I would be into it. What do you think of the AirTags? Are you gonna get one?
Probably not.
What about a purple
I mean, it's
iPhone?
cool, but it's also like, dude, I've had tiles for forever. I don't
I've
give a
never
shit.
had them. I never. Are they cool? You think I should get one?
I mean, if you lose your keys, yeah, they're cool.
I don't really lose my keys though. That's the thing. I probably shouldn't get one.
Like, I mean, it's literally the only extra benefit is like,
I could put it on my kid if I lose my kid.
yeah, good luck with that.
And put it on her.
Like, I don't know, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, it'd be cool. Like, it depends on how small they can make them too, though.
Yeah, they're
like, if
they're
they
not
could actually-
small. Like they're kind of big. That's the thing.
I mean, they're the size of a tile. That's why it's like, I don't give a shit.
They don't
about
really
it.
fit in your wallet. You know, they
Yeah.
kind of like, especially
Like,
if you use like
if you could make one that's a credit card
yeah, that's
that
what I
fits
mean.
in a credit card.
Yeah, I'd be into
for
that.
your wallet, that's cool. Or if you can make like a little dot one that doesn't do anything that you can just stick on your camera, like that would be sick. But
Yeah.
otherwise, it's for your keys, and it's like, okay, cool.
How often?
Now, if
yeah.
you lose your keys, you can say, "Hey Siri, where's my keys?"
Yeah. Yeah, interesting that it took them forever to release it. That's also interesting, considering everything else
Well, the
they've
thing
done.
is
This little easy thing to fucking develop, it took them fucking years to make.
Yeah,
Oh, and a new Apple TV with the new remote. That's huge. That is huge.
that is interesting. Dude, the iMac, I still want it, but I still hate it. Where it's just like, God damn it. Like, and same with the iPad. The iPad is actually really sick.
Yeah,
Just
it rocks.
why?
It's just
But
you.
at the same time, why? Just why?
We're
why?
just
Like,
not there
it's-
yet. We're getting there. We're seeing the glimpse of the Apple future. We're just
No,
not
the problem.
quite there.
This is why. This is why it's annoying. Is it's there. It's just blatantly choosing to not let it be there.
Yeah. Yeah. We just gotta wait out a little bit more. I'm gonna definitely get the new Apple TVs. I
Yeah,
want this
said
new
that for
remote.
like 6 years now.
What, the new Apple TV?
No, just that the iPad's almost there.
Oh yeah. I know. Well, ever since they released that the X version, which was like 30 times faster than whatever the fuck they were doing on mobile, it's like, all right, well now we have the power. Now we definitely have the power. Now that you're putting, I guess literal desktop chips in your iPads, well, we're still almost there. But the biggest announcement, new Apple TV remote. They finally left the swipage and they went with the jog wheel, which rocks. That's
Yeah.
cool. And it's big. It's not tiny. The worst
And I mean,
design is the Apple remote and the Apple mouse. The worst designs that they ever created. And then they fixed the mouse, or they fixed the remote now.
And I mean, in fairness, the purple phone's pretty cool.
Yeah. I love colors. Give me all the colors. Keep going colors. Keep doing colors.
Yeah.
I would love them to do more like limited edition colors. I like the idea of like a midnight green only for one release, or like a navy blue. Like I like that idea too, but I would like more options. As I love the
Yeah.
look of the orange iMac. You know, I mean, in my house that would fit perfectly, and it's a cool looking like centerpiece. It's just kind of eye catching. I love the colors that they did with the iPad or the iMac.
True.
I
True.
would love to see that more across like all of their products.
I just wish some of it was more priced in the real world, I guess. But yeah,
Never gonna happen,
I don't know.
unfortunately.
Well, no, like the weird thing is, like, it has always at least made sense, and this one just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense that the iMac is like your laptop is now just as powerful as your desktop and cheaper. That literally just breaks all laws to me, I guess. I don't know.
Well, you're getting you're not getting the same. I mean, maybe you are getting the same quality display. I don't really know. Oh yeah, the iPad has a new display too, doesn't it? Doesn't it use
The
like a
iPad,
micro
well,
LED?
the big one does. They both do, but the big one's the really nice display. That's just the XDR Pro display,
Fuck man, that
which is
rocks.
really sick.
That actually really.
But I mean,
rocks.
even on the MacBook Air now, you actually get the good display.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's like,
true.
and I mean, how much do you think the iMac screen is worth, realistically, if you were to replace it with a different monitor?
I don't know. I don't know because there's nothing that really rivals it on the PC side, right? Like any of like you look at like high performance monitors and PC. I mean, you have LG, I guess. And that's about it. That's the only thing I can really think of is like what the LG monitors are doing. But they still aren't quite there in terms of like accuracy. They're just not there. And then on the other side, you're sacrificing refresh and you're sacrificing, I mean, you're getting refresh, you're getting frames per second, but you're sacrificing accuracy heavily on that stuff. Unless you wanted to pay, you know, a couple $1,000s for like the top end gaming monitor.
I mean, well, the issue is for 95. 95 is not hard to hit anymore. You can get 95 P3s pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this a 5K though? Are you going to get it 5K? Or 4 point? I guess it is 5K. Or 4.5K.
No one's going to get 4.5K because, yeah, that's exclusive. That's just what's also weird and annoying to me. It's where it's like, okay, it's not 5K, which if that matters to you, then that matters to you. You know what I mean? But to the vast majority of people, that's probably not going to matter to you because guess what? All of these scale anyways, so you're never even seeing it at 4.5K. It still just scales to 1440p because, yeah, otherwise you couldn't read it. It just sucks where it's like Mac Minis, $600, iMacs, $1,300. They're the same fucking thing.
Yeah, there's no way that
Airs,
there's no way the monitor is
$900.
$600.
It's the same thing.
There's no way the monitor alone is 600.
Like that's where it kind of sucks. Where it's just like it's a really cool design. I get that and I agree with that. It's weird that it's now the most. It's weird to me that it's more expensive than a MacBook Pro.
How about this? How about you can do better video editing on an iMac than you can a $6,000 Mac Pro? You know what I mean? Like.
I mean, that's cool, but then why that still also exists for the $600 mini then?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true. True.
That's where it's like a bummer. It's like if you're going to price it at the top.
Their pricing's all fucked up because of the M1. That's just the end of the story, really. Right,
but that's where it's like, that's where they needed to make it the M2. Like that should have been the debut of the M2 or like, yeah, this is the M1X and it's got 2 extra cores. It's not even so much the CPU power. It's just like, cool, it's the desktop. We added another 8 graphics cores.
Or we cooled it and now you can run it faster.
Yeah.
Because now it's in a desktop. So we can put it,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I 100% understand. Yeah. But we'll see what the 27-inch does. I mean, they're going to update the whole thing. So I'm interested. I'm very fascinated because this is pretty cool to see them. And that we finally got a new fucking iMac after so many years. And it looks great.
And it does really look great. It is a cool iMac and it does look good. It's just, bruh, that should have been like $1,000 if you're gonna like it should have been the same price.
Well, you'll buy it for $1,300 and then by September it'll be worth $1,000 for sure. So when you go to sell it to upgrade your iMac, you're gonna lose money on it. That's
Yeah,
100%
like that.
gonna happen.
It's just one of like, if it was $1,000, I'd be much more excited about it, and it's just because otherwise, why wouldn't I just buy the laptop?
All right, let's close it up. Let's close it up. Good show, everyone. We'll catch you guys every Sunday. That's just what it is. Every Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern. You know, nolife.digital. Head over to our website. Subscribe to our podcast on the website. You can click podcast. You can subscribe right here. You can listen on the website, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And yeah, we'll catch you guys later. I'm waiting to get this Streamlink Pro, Camlink Pro in so we can do some videos on that because I know you guys are interested in that production side of things. But until then, hopefully they don't lose it again. Hopefully they don't lose it again.